and welcome to my April-May reading wrap-up. I have something to confess. In April, I only read 3 books, which is probably the least amount of books I've read in a month since I got started reading again in August of last year. So I thought it would make more sense just to do a big giant combined April-May reading wrap-up because I read a lot more books this month in May. And also, I had so many 5-star reads over the last 2 months. I pride myself on being pretty picky with my 5-star ratings, but this month I was really just handing them out like candy. That does not make sense. I don't hand out candy unless maybe Halloween. Anyway, I had 5-star reads, which is so many. So I hope you enjoyed this video because there's so many books that I love in this video. Oh my gosh, also, I finally made an Amazon wish list. So you guys are welcome to send me a book if you want to. You definitely don't have to. I pretty much mostly just made it so that I can show you guys my big giant TBR, what I'm looking to read soon and to buy soon, so you can get ideas for your own TBR. But yeah, I'll have my Amazon wish list linked in the description. But before we move on to the first 2 books I'm going to talk about, I wanted to tell you guys about Fabulous. And Fabulous, the #1 self-care app, is the sponsor of today's video. Lately, I have been really struggling to build good routines and good habits, especially as somebody who works at home doing YouTube. The Fabulous app is a digital coach, or as I prefer to call it, a happiness trainer, and it uses insights from behavioral science to help you develop great habits and achieve your goals. It teaches you how to create morning, afternoon, and night routines, and it gives you challenges that you can participate in to help keep you motivated. The very first challenge is drinking water right when you wake up. I love that it starts off so simple because as a person, I get discouraged and give up so easily. So I love that this app forces you to start slowly with baby steps. And there are 2 different approaches. The dedicated approach, where you choose a journey to immerse yourself in over several weeks. And then the habit tracking approach, which allows you to pick which habits you want to focus on. I chose to start out with 3 habits: creating my plan for the day, exercising, and practicing being grateful. My favorite one is the being thankful habit. It has really helped me start off my day feeling so happy and thankful, and I also feel like it's really reduced my stress about little everyday things because it just reminds me of all the things that I have in my life that are good and going right. So far, I have been in love with the Fabulous app. It has been so helpful, and I'm actually really proud of myself because I've finally started to form these good habits. So start building your ideal daily routine today. The first 100 people to use my link in the description will get 25% off a Fabulous subscription. The 2 books that I just finished and 2 of my 5-star reads are The Inheritance Games and The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which are the first 2 books in the Inheritance Games series. I love this series so much. I did not expect to love this series as much as I do. The Inheritance Games is about a girl named Avery, and she's just your average typical high schooler until one day she finds out that this random billionaire is leaving her some money in his will, and she's so confused. She goes to the will reading and she finds out that he's leaving her basically his entire fortune, and the only stipulation is that Avery has to live in his house with the billionaire's family, who he basically just disinherited. So it starts out so crazy, and that happens right at the beginning, so you're just like thrown into this insane world and this insane plot. And the house is also wild. It's full of secret passageways and riddles and codes. And the family that she's living with has 4 grandsons who are all around Avery's age. So we've got the mystery of why this man left her so much money, the secret passageways and riddles of the house and of the grandfather, and then also some romance subplot. Hello, it is Editing Alley popping in really fast. This book also is a love triangle. That's like the romance trope. And I just wanted to say that I am team Jameson 100%, but I also love Grayson a lot too. And if you've read the book, please let me know. Are you team Jason or team Grayson? I'm like combining their names. Team Grayson or team Jameson? Whose team are you on? Because I have to know and I really want to talk about it. And honestly, these might be my 2 favorite books that I've read this month. The mystery and the riddle and the plot was just like so wild and so unexpected and nothing like I've ever read. And I loved the 2nd book in the series just as much as the first one. And the 3rd book is coming out in August and I cannot wait. Just to recap, if you're interested in romance, interested in riddles, mystery, dark academia, YA, you will freaking love this series. Okay, on to the next book. Hello! So I just finished reading Better Than the Movies. I literally returned it to the library like 30 minutes ago, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I did not give my review yet, and now I no longer have the physical book. So you will have to do with just the picture, but oh my gosh, this book was hands down a 5-star read. I kind of don't want to tell you what it's about because I went into it knowing the plot and it was still so good that way, but I kind of think it would be way better if you really didn't know much at all. So I'm just gonna kind of tell you like the vibe of the book. It's basically about this girl in high school and she is obsessed with romance movies. So there's lots of quotes and references to popular romance movies, which I loved. And basically she's trying to find a date to prom because she wants to like live out her romance movie moment and have a fantastic prom. It's just so cute. It's YA, and I don't know, some YA books feel a little bit young to me and then other ones don't feel young to me at all. And this is one of those where even though it was YA, it didn't feel like a young read, if that makes sense. So even if you were older than high school age, I still think you would enjoy it because I really enjoyed it. It made me feel so giddy and happy to read it. And then I also read Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, which I also already returned to the library. I actually was like halfway through this book and then the date to return it to the library came up and I was like, oh no, like I'm not gonna finish in time, and I did not finish in time. So after I returned it to the library, I literally immediately bought and downloaded the ebook and finished it like the next day. So rip to my bank account, that was an L, but I'm happy that I got to finish it. Anyway, I gave Love and Other Words 4.5 stars, so almost a 5-star read. So incredibly good. It's about a girl and a boy, it's childhood friends to lovers, and this is the best part, they both love reading. They're obsessed with reading. That's like a really integral part to their relationship. Come on, like I love books, so I love reading about characters who love books. They're childhood friends, then they have a big falling out and they do not see each other for 10 years. So it starts in present day after they haven't seen each other for 10 years and they randomly run into each other at a coffee shop and everything comes flooding back. So it goes back and forth between present day and then 10 years ago. And it's just so freaking cute, but also so freaking sad. There's just so much that happens and it was really an emotional roller coaster. I just finished the first 2 books in the Summer I Turned Pretty series. I actually bought the first book and then the second book is a library book and they're in 2 different styles, and I think this style for all 3 books is so cute. I absolutely love the cover. This series is YA. It is so beyond perfect for summer. It is about a girl named Belly and she goes to this beach house every single summer with her mom and her brother and her mom's best friend and her mom's best friend's 2 sons. So ever since she was little, she just grew up spending summers at this beach house chasing her brother and the 2 boys around, trying to fit in and be a part of them. And then one summer, everything changes. It is quite literally the summer she turned pretty and she starts to get noticed by boys and be included more, and it's really just the summer where everything changes. And I liked the series so much. I would give it 4 stars. And then the 2 boys are her brother's friends, so it's kind of brother's best friend trope, which I love. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's a series coming out in June. Like, that is so soon that the series is coming out. And I'm assuming the first season in the series is just going to span the first book, but I don't know. So I really want to read all 3 books before starting the series, just in case. And I love seeing books that I love just like come alive on the screen, and the casting for the series, perfect. So I am so excited. I just finished The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I gave it 5 stars. I know this book is so hyped up and I think it's worth the hype. Not just I think, it's definitely worth the hype. Olive is a grad student and she needs to convince her friend that she's dating someone, and so in the moment she panics and kisses the first man that she sees, and that man is a professor at her school. And she just kisses him. And he's also like a known grouch. Like nobody likes him because he gives super harsh feedback, but he agrees to keep up the charade and be her fake boyfriend. So it's just like a whirlwind of a start to this book because that happens right at the beginning. And then it's such a like fun and interesting combo to have a grad student and then a professor that like nobody likes. And then grumpy sunshine and fake dating, 2 such good tropes. And then also this author, Ali Hazelwood, this is the first book I've ever read by her, but she is incredible. I was reading the about her section in the back of the book and it says that she has a PhD in neuroscience and she's also a professor. And then she's also obviously like such an accomplished author. That is wild. Like she is so smart. My little brain could never understand how brains work. let alone have a PhD in that topic. Also pretty spicy. If you've read chapter 16, then you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I love this book so much. Please check it out. Next up is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. You guys, when I tell you I have been waiting for this book for so long, I am a huge Emily Henry fan. Definitely one of my top 3 authors. Love her so much. Beach read made me fall in love with reading, and now we are blessed with Book Lovers. Book Lovers is about Nora, and she is a literary agent, and she is nicknamed the Shark. She's a workaholic. She's there for her clients, and she's there to get things done. And then Charlie is a book editor, and he is very similar. And they both live in New York, and they of course bump heads right off the bat. But then Nora ends up going to Sunshine Falls, which is a little tiny town, with her sister on vacation, and she happens to bump into none other than Charlie in that tiny town. And what I love about this book is that it's the perfect setup for it to go the very stereotypical way of like the cutthroat workaholic New York City main character goes to small town and completely changes her ways. But instead it really just like throws that stereotype out the window. And I love that the main character is like so unapologetically herself. She loves New York, she loves the city, she loves her job, and she's a super strong woman, and she doesn't need a big character transformation. Like, that's who she is, and that's okay. And I love that so much because a lot of romance books have like the grumpy sunshine trope or some version of it. And so I don't know, it's really refreshing to see a main female character that is very headstrong and she doesn't need to change that about herself. Anyway, I could talk about that forever, but another thing that I absolutely love about this book is the banter. I feel like Emily Henry is the queen of banter, and this book, 10 out of 10 for the banter. Absolutely incredible. I just like speed read this book. I was up till like 2 or 3 a.m. last night just reading because I had to finish it and I could not put it down. Overall, I would give this book 4.5 stars. Loved it so much and would definitely recommend. All right, on to the next book. Next up is the last book in the Addicted series. This is actually the first book in the Addicted series. It's the only one I physically own and had to do the toss, you know, for the transition. But Addicted After All by Krista and Becca Ritchie is, I was about to say the last book I read this month, but I actually have not finished this book, so I definitely should not be including it in this video, but I wanted to ask you guys a question. So first of all, if you're unfamiliar with this series, it is about Lily and Lo, and Lo is an alcoholic and Lily is a sex addict, and it's childhood friends to lovers. It's also fake dating, and their families are super wealthy, so there's a lot going on, and I love this series with all of my heart. It's definitely one of my top series of all time. And there's also another series called the Calloway Sisters series that takes place in the same world with the same characters, and you're supposed to read the 2 series together. So right now I'm on the last book in the Addicted series, Addicted After All, and she's a long one. I'm reading on my iPad, and it says that at least the ebook is 436 pages long, and I'm like halfway through it. And I've honestly just gotten a little bit bored, so I started this book at the beginning of the month, and I've really lost motivation to keep reading it. It honestly just feels like one giant epilogue, which it is the last book in the series, so it would make sense if it's supposed to be like epilogue vibes, but I also just feel like the characters are just kind of living their life with some conflict, but nothing is like super gripping or like keeping me on the edge of my seat about the book. So I kind of want to DNF it, but like it's literally the last book in my favorite series. Like that would be a crime if I DNF'd it. I could not live with myself. I'm gonna finish it, but I guess I just kind of know like what am I getting myself into. So for anyone who's finished the series, does it get way more exciting, or is it like epilogue book and that's just what I should expect and I'll just read it slowly maybe over the next month or so? I don't know, let me know. And that is all the books I read over the last 2 months. Leave me any book recommendations you have because I'm making my TBR for the rest of the summer. I'm really trying to read lots of good summer reads. And also I will have my Pinterest linked below so you guys can see I make a Pinterest board for every single book that I read. That's what was popping up when it was like if this book was a Pinterest board and there was pictures. But on my actual Pinterest, there's way more pictures for each book and way more books that you can see that I made Pinterest boards for. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Tied the ends of the guitar strings with the claves used for Latin American rhythm. And then he approached his victims from the rear, looped the wire over their heads, and...
Ooh, how terrible.